Next on Worcester News Tonight, a bus driver is on unpaid administrative leave after a 5-year-old was hit by a car after he was dropped off. And a new brew for the holiday season, and wait till you see who's behind it. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tim McComb. The countdown to Election Day continues. Last night, we brought you all 3 mayoral candidates. Tonight, all of the at-large city council candidates were under the spotlight in the final forum of a 4-part series. Tonight's event took place at the Worcester Public Library. The series was put on by various community groups with the focus tonight on public safety. The issue's been one of the hot topics this election season, and candidates' opinions on how safe the city is vary.
There was a whole spectrum. I think there was a spectrum that said that, things were very unsafe. We had another end of the spectrum that said things were very safe, and there were other opinions in between. And I think the nice things about our questions is they got to engage on specific topics. So looking at types of crime, and really focus on solutions.
The election is next Tuesday, November 3rd. Worcester police are investigating a pedestrian accident involving a 5-year-old boy. Police say a car hit the child who was trying to cross Hamilton Street after he was left alone by his bus driver. Kayla Mamlak has the latest.
I laid down and I started singing him the ABCs. And I'm like, just look at me down here, because he kept trying to get up.
Amanda Rivera says she found a 5-year-old boy moments after he had been hit by a car on Hamilton Street. The nurse was walking in the area. Police say the boy's school bus driver dropped him off without an adult waiting for him. The boy was apparently trying to cross the street when he was struck by a car, the impact sending him more than 20 feet. The young boy is an elementary school student at Abby Kelly. The school says, our school's transportation policy states that students are to be picked up at the bus stop by a parent or designated adult.
Once they put him in the ambulance and he was leaving by himself, that's when my heart broke, and I started crying because he's a baby and he's by himself.
The boy is now recovering from a broken leg and head injury. The driver is not being charged. Police say he was going under the speed limit. Today, parents at Abby Kelly pick up their children. They say they were devastated when they heard the news.
It was horrible. Children need to be supervised when they're getting off the bus.
Well, I was shocked because my granddaughter goes to Abby Kelly Foster, and we wait at the bus stop sometimes for her, and their bus driver always watches. I mean, it's so important.
And that was our Kayla Mamlak reporting. We also spoke with AA Transportation. They say their thoughts and prayers go out to the family. The bus driver is on unpaid administrative leave as the investigation continues. Well, a family and a community are still in mourning after the fatal cement truck accident from earlier this week. Unfortunately, it's not the first deadly accident on that stretch of Route 20. Olivia Lemon spoke with family members of other victims who say it's time to do something once and for all.
I was in shock when I first found out. My daughter, Kimberly, told me. And I kind of went, oh my God.
Lisa Broder didn't want to believe the news when she heard there was another fatal accident on Route 20 in Oxford Monday. Her husband, Michael, was killed 18 years ago in the same exact spot after their family was hit by a drunk driver.
We were coming around that corner. We were in the slow lane. He was coming from the opposite direction, and he crossed over 2 lanes to hit us.
Her son Kyle, 10 at the time, was in a coma for 1 year and is now paralyzed. Her 2 daughters were also seriously injured.
It needs to be fixed. We don't need another death to happen before something is fixed.
Oxford Town Manager Brian Pelias says it's been in the state's transportation improvement plan for a long time to fix the road, but it's not scheduled to happen until 2025.
It's a public safety issue. It affects a lot of people. It's a major transportation corridor, so it's not just Oxford and Charlton residents that are affected. It's everybody that travels along that corridor is potentially at risk.
Pelias says the travel speed is too high for the sharp, dangerous curves on the road, which is why there are so many fatal accidents.
There's really no separation between the cars that are traveling in opposite directions, and there's not a shoulder for them to maneuver onto.
We need something. It's a very busy area. If Mass Pike has an accident, everyone is rerouted to Route 20.
Broder says she is reminded of the horrible accident every time she drives on the road. She hopes something will be done before another person has to die.
When I go through that corner, every time I go by, I'm praying to my husband. I always let him know how much I miss him and how much I love him.
Olivia Lemon, Worcester News Tonight.
Right now, police in Worcester are investigating a home invasion and need your help in finding the suspects involved. It happened last night in an apartment on Blake Street. Police say, according to the victim, 2 suspects forced their way into her apartment after she had a brief conversation with them on her porch. One of the men was armed with a firearm while the other had a knife. The suspects took several items and then fled the apartment. One is described as a black male, approximately 5'9", heavyset and wearing dark clothing. The second suspect is described as a black male, approximately 5'6" to 5'8", skinny and possibly in his mid to late teens. There were no reported injuries. Anyone with information is asked to call police. Well, the rainy afternoon didn't stop some Anna Maria College fire science students from putting on quite the display today. The students presented a live fire demonstration to evaluate the new fire extinguishing product, Fire Ice. They used a variety of flammable items ranging from mattresses to cars and even Christmas trees in hopes of simulating realistic fire scenarios.
Fire Ice is increasing the safety for firefighters, you know. Myself, I'm an aspiring firefighter, and this is going to take us into the future. It's going to make us more safe and hopefully save lives and prevent injury.
Firefighters from the area also joined students for the exercise. It's a brand new ale just in time for the holidays, and it comes from a very unique setting here in Central Mass. Our Andy Madison has a look at the latest offering from the holiest of breweries.
There was cause for celebration Wednesday night at Spencer Brewery. Their newest ale is ready to go.
It's really delicious. It's a nice, full-bodied, beautiful, like Belgian style.
The Spencer Trappist Holiday Ale is described as dark and spicy, an ale as unique as the Trappist monks from St. Joseph's Abbey, who are the brains behind the beer.
Bigger body than our regular ale. It'd be darker, so it'd be used in a more complex assortment of malts.
It's unlike any brewery you've ever seen. That's because it's the only Trappist brewery outside of Europe, and they take their craft very seriously.
We sit together, we'll go through recipes, we'll determine what kind of malts we might want to try from the previous brew, and then just add that to it, and then just see how it comes out.
Wednesday night was the first tasting of the ale before it is bottled and shipped out later this week.
It's just something they're going to have on the shelves until around the first year, and that's it.
It's the monastery's second beer.
You want to mark the holidays. We're interested in increasing our sales and customer base. So with this, we are reaching out probably to a broader customer base than we would be with our regular Trappist ale.
And they're just getting started.
We limit it to 2 brews, but we hope maybe next year that we can produce a little bit more.
So where and when will the holiday ale be available? It'll ship later this week and it'll hit the shelves next week, only here in Central Massachusetts. Tim, I'll send it back to you.
Good stuff, Andy. Thanks a lot. Well, a celebration of survivorship at St. Vincent Hospital tonight. The YMCA of Central Mass and St. Vincent's partnering up to put on the event Evening of Inspiration, honoring all who have suffered or been affected by cancer. Proceeds from the event benefited the Y's Livestrong program, which is offered for free to cancer survivors, their families, and people dealing with the disease. The program helps focus participants on the whole person. The YMCA of Central Mass is just one of 120 YMCAs that host Livestrong at the YMCA.
This program has really taken off, and we have gone through maybe 500 plus people that have been through the program and continue to go through the program. It's a really great program for families and cancer survivors.
For them to partner with a national, international organization like Livestrong that focuses on the health and well-being of cancer patients fits perfectly with our mission as well.
Livestrong began at the Greendale Y in 2012 and has since expanded to 3 other branches and soon will be added to the new Leominster Community branch. Well, some of our viewers out there already know what story's coming up next. A few psychic mediums shared their talents tonight, and it was all for a good cause. It took place at the Manor restaurant and was all to benefit the Heart and Stroke Association. Guests got to take part in a meet and greet and got their own mini readings. Activities included tarot card readings, palm readings, and there was even an animal communicator.
Funds that we raise at these types of events locally go to local causes like hands-free CPR. We provide training for that from little school children to adults.